Okay, welcome everybody. We're continuing in our Hachaim in this week's Parshat Vayakhel. At this point, Moshe Rabbeinu gathers Klal Yisrael after the Chet Egel, right before the inauguration, the opening of the Mishkan, in which Hashem brings the Shekhinah into this world, into Klal Yisrael. And prior to that, Moshe Rabbeinu has a very important message from Hakadosh Baruch Hu. As the pasuk says, Vayakhel Moshe's kol adas b'nei Yisrael. Moshe gathered the entire nation of Klal Yisrael. Vayarm eleim, and he said to them, Eila hadvarim asher tziva Hashem lasos osam. These are the things that Hashem commanded you to do. The Hachaim is going to ask, what do you mean these are the things? What happened up until now? Why all of a sudden Hashem commanded new things? Didn't we hear mitzvahs by Matan Torah, by Har Sinai? What is the mitzvah that Hashem wants us to do right now, specifically after the Chet Egel and prior to Hakamas HaMishkan? Sheishes Yom Te'asem Malacha. 6 days you could work, Ubayom Hashvi, and on the seventh day, Yelechem Kodesh Shabbos Shabbosim Ladinoi Kol Oiseh B'Malacha Yimas. Seventh day is Shabbos, and it's forbidden to do any work. And what's the mitzvah? You should not make a fire in all of the areas that you live. And this is the mitzvah that Hashem wants me to tell you. Moshe Rabbeinu finishes off in Pasuk Dalet. Says the Hachaim, I don't understand. First of all, why now specifically is Hashem introducing or is requiring us to do a mitzvah? Number two, we already know the mitzvah of Shabbos. Hashem told us the mitzvah of Shabbos in last week's Parshat, in Parshas B'Shalach, in Yisroi, right, when Hakadosh Baruch Hu gave us the Torah. Many times Hashem already discussed to us the mitzvah of Shabbos. And also, if you want to say that there's something specific that Hashem required us in Shabbos, you would think that Hakadosh Baruch Hu would introduce a new concept in Shabbos that we were unfamiliar with. Not that you're not allowed to work on Shabbos. We already know that you're not allowed to work on Shabbos. So what is Hashem coming to add? And specifically with this idea of Sheishes Yom Tavoid and V'asisa Kol Malachtecha, and on the seventh day you should make Shabbos in Hashem. So the Chaim is going to explain a very, very important Hachaim, a new idea, a new concept, a new understanding in the mitzvah of Shabbos. One of the many classic Hachaims, as it seems to be that every week we're discussing a new classic Hachaim. But the Hachaim says that Klal Yisrael had a major problem. And the problem was that even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu already forgave Klal Yisrael and was moichel them, there's still, for the Chet Egel, there still was a problem. The problem is that they served Avodah Zarah. They defiled the relationship between them and Hashem. They basically told Hashem, we don't believe in you. How do I know that we don't believe in you? Because we decided to serve a different God. And therefore, whatever you taught us, we don't believe. Because by undermining the relationship, the faith that we had in HaKadosh Baruch Hu by going with another Avodah Zarah, that essentially undermines, that removes, that puts a hole in the relationship of us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and in actuality shows that we don't believe in anything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told us. And in order for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to come back to us, there had to be a way of rectifying it. Now, there's no way to rectify this idea where we undermined all the 630 mitzvahs. Moreover, many of the mitzvahs we can't even do yet because we're not in Eretz Yisrael. There's no Beis Hamikdash yet. In addition, some of us are not Kohanim, some of us are not Yisraelim, some of us are not men, some of us are not women. There's certain mitzvahs that are specific to certain people, to certain shvatim. So how do we fix this problem? And without fixing this problem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu cannot bring the Shekhinah into the Beis Hamikdash. So the Hachaim says there's only one mitzvah that could do this. Not even Limud HaTorah could help. Because even Limud HaTorah only learns about the mitzvahs, right? Torah comes to teach us what mitzvahs we have to do, all the halachas of the mitzvahs, when are they fit. That's why we have the Mishnayos, we have the Gemara. But if we don't believe in it, then it doesn't help us. So the Hachaim says there's only one way, there's only one mitzvah to refortify, to reestablish the connection between us and Hashem, to re-establish the relationship and the emunah in Hashem, and that is the commandment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do right now, says Moshe Rabbeinu. And what is that commandment? What is that mitzvah? The mitzvah of Shabbos. And how does the mitzvah of Shabbos do that? So as we know, the famous Gemara that says, Kol HaShoyim Shabbos, anybody that's Shoyim Shabbos is afilu Ovid Avodah Zarah Kedar Enosh, even if they served Avodah Zarah like Dar Enosh. Dar Enosh was the first generation that introduced the concept of Avodah Zarah into the world, and they were knee deep in it, neck deep in it, as they say. Even if you served Avodah Zarah so much so, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will forgive you. And in order for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to forgive us, said Moshe Rabbeinu, and to come into the Mishkan, to bring the Shekhinah into the Mishkan for what HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the entire world for, we have to keep Shabbos. So Klal Yisrael says, what do you mean? Of course we kept Shabbos. Moshe Rabbeinu said, no. We have to understand that even though we're working for 7 days, on Shabbos we're not allowed to work. The seventh day is a day of rest, a day of recognizing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world in 6 days, and on the seventh day Hashem rested. By us keeping Shabbos, we ratify our relationship with Hashem. We acknowledge, and that's the key point here, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world in 6 days, and on the seventh day He rested. By us acknowledging that it was HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ba'atzmai, b'chvoidoi, with no other help, no other medium, no other being, no other malach, Hashem created the world on His own in 6 days, and on the seventh day He rests. By us being mechabed that idea, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we believe that you are the only Elokus in the world. There's nothing else in the world. What we did before is not correct. And the proof is that we're keeping Shabbos. The proof is that we're not working on Shabbos. The proof is that we understand that Shabbos is not just a day of rest. It's a day that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you rested after 7 days. And that is why that mitzvah was specifically needed now. Not Shabbos in general. But this idea, says the Hachaim, of Shabbos being the affirmation and the acknowledgement on our part that HaKadosh Baruch Hu alone created the world and rested on Shabbos, then if we do that, we can be moichel on all the averos. And Shabbos is so important, even today. A person never knows what avera he needs to be fixed, what avera needs to be moichel, not in this Gilgul, in other Gilgulim. When a person is mechabed Shabbos, and he honors Shabbos, and he understands that the purpose of Shabbos is not just to rest and to be mechabed Shabbos, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu set Shabbos as a separate day, Kodesh, Shabbos, Shabbosin, that it's a separate day from the rest of the week, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu finished creating the world. And when we say Vayakhel Hashamayim, right, when we say the Kiddush, we acknowledge that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, HaKadosh Baruch Hu rested the world. We are now affirming and re-acknowledging that it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu who directs, who's man kol habruyim. And by doing that, we are re-acknowledging also all 613 mitzvahs. We are reaffirming, right? We are pledging our allegiance, as you know, we do in the United States, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to all of His commandments. And through that, we are mechaper on the cheta of the egel, and we now can once again bring Hashem back into our midst and bring the Shekhinah into us. And this week specifically is the week that HaKadosh Baruch Hu explains to us why Shabbos is so important and the tremendous benefits, not just on a gashmiistic level, but on a spiritual level. By us keeping Shabbos, we are affirming not only that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one and only God, but that we are affirming our belief in all of the 613 mitzvahs that HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded that we are going to do. We should be zoicha that, as the Navi says, as it's brought down, that if we keep shtei Shabbosos, we should be zoicha to see B'yas Mashiach, and the schus of Shabbos should be, as the Gemara says, bracha ad belidai, that there's a nachla bli mitzarim.